welcome back everyone. In this series of video lecture, we are studying about kingdom fungi, and in this video we will be classifying the fungi. In the last video we studied the introduction part of the kingdom fungi, and now we are moving forward with the next video of where we'll be covering the 5 different class of fungi. Okay, so let us begin the topic. Now, classification of fungi. Firstly, let us see what are the basis of classification. Okay, the basis of classification is morphology of the reproductive structure. That means the inner constituent of the reproductive structure, type of the reproductive structure is deciding their classes. Okay, next is physiology and biochemistry. That is the normal body functions. Okay, there is difference in some kind of regulation inside their bodies also. That is why we are differentiating the class of the fungi on the basis of physiology and biochemistry. Okay, that is, it basically depends on the molecular movement inside the body. Alright, so coming to the classes of fungi, there are 5 classes of fungi. We will be studying about each classes of fungi one by one. Okay, first is Omycetes. The example of Omycetes is water mold. Alright, that is, they are primitive fungi. Omycetes are the primitive or ancient type of fungi. Okay, and they are basically having cellulosic cell wall. Alright, and these fungi, they have more similarity with the organism belonging to kingdom Protista. Okay, so the basic characteristics of Omycetes is that it is only the fungi to give biflagellated zoospore, and it becomes important for your MCQ type of question, because you see this kind of questions are basically asked for your MCQ. Okay, it's the only class of fungi having a biflagellated zoospore. Okay, these are Omycetes. Also come, which is the fungi to have a cellulosic cell wall. All right, and you have to mark tick on Omycetes again. Coming to the next, that is Zoomycetes or Phycomycetes, children. They are also called conjugation fungi. Okay, which fungi is known as conjugation fungi? That is Phycomycetes or Zoomycetes. Okay, the example of this kind of fungi is the bread mold or rhizopus, and this is the basic example that we have been studying since very lower classes. So when we are studying about the classification of fungi, what becomes more important is to know the basis of their naming. Okay, why they are named as Zygomycetes? Okay, why are they named as Ascomycetes? Why are they named as Basidomycetes? This becomes the more important thing. Okay, for what reason are they named differently? Okay, they are named because of the formation of diploid resting spores called zygospores. Okay, during the sexual reproduction process, Zygomycetes, they form resting zygospores which are diploid. Okay, and that is the reason why they are named as Zygomycetes. Zygospores, Zygomycetes. Okay, and the hyphae is haploid and non-septate branched. Okay, we studied about 2 different type of hyphae, isn't it? One is septate and another is non-septate. Zygomycetes, they have non-septate hyphae. Okay, and obviously the hyphae are branched and it is haploid. Okay, now asexual reproduction, they reproduce with the help of endospore formation. All right, endospores means the spore inside any kind of sac or any kind of bag is known as endospore. Okay, and the spore just freely outside the body is known as exospores. Asexual reproduction is by endospore formation, that is, spores are inside a solen sporangia, and we will be knowing what are sporangia also. Okay, each sporangium bears hundreds of haploid spore. Each sporangium bears 100 of haploid spore. Now let us come to this diagram, children. You see out here, this is a diagram in which I have drawn sporangia, sporangiophore and spores. Okay, I'll be explaining you one by one. You see, this is a fungal hyphae, the lower part, all the lower part, root like part are known as hyphae. Okay, from hyphae you see a vertical branch has been emerged, and these vertical branch are known as sporangiophore. Okay, this branch is known as sporangiophore. Okay, each sporangiophore bear a bulge sporangia. This bulge part are sporangia, and inside each sporangia there are 100 of spores. cells, okay, and each sporangia bursts and releases so many spores, okay, and each spores they grow as a new individual hyphae again. All right, this is asexual reproduction. Now coming to next, that is sexual reproduction with the contact between plus and minus strain, okay. Zygomycetes, they have two type of strain, that is plus strand and minus strand, okay. And how are those two strand different from one another? You see, they are morphologically similar but physiologically dissimilar, okay. That means structure wise they are similar, we can't differentiate between the two, but if we go with the inner functioning of the both, they are dissimilar there, okay. That is the reason why it is mentioned physiologically dissimilar. Physiologically means by inner process, the process happening inside the body, okay. Morphologically means by appearance. All right, that is by the formation of gametangia. This is the important word, okay, you underline this part as well. Now you see here, this is a picture which is showing the sexual reproduction process happening in the zygomycetes. You see here there are plus strand and a minus strand, all right, and the upper appearance of both is same, that is why I have drawn both the thing in black color, okay. But at the bottom you see they both are forming a bulge kind of structure. This bulge kind of structure, it is having several nuclei and dense cytoplasm, okay, because you see inside these there are so many nucleus, okay. Here also there are so many nucleus, okay, and there is cytoplasm is very dense, that means cytoplasm has aggregated to become a big swollen part, okay, and the nucleus are many out there. All right, this kind of structure formation in which both the swollen part from both the hyphae joins, okay, is known as gametangia, and these gametangia will give rise to diploid zygospores, okay. See, diploid zygospore. Now why we have named this as zygomycetes? Because they will finally give diploid zygospores, right. Coming to ascomycetes children, you see they are also known as sac fungi, okay. Why is this? Because their reproductive structure is formed inside a sac kind of structure known as ascus. Ascomycetes because of ascus, and sac fungi because this ascus is sac like, okay. Now you see hyphae they are septate. In zygomycetes we saw that there was non-septate hyphae, but here the hyphae is septate, it is tube-like and it is haploid. See septa, there are large pore. There are large pore in a septa, that means you see this diagram, okay, between the membrane, okay, there are a pore, you see, and this pore is helping this nucleus to move freely. In case of zygomycetes there was no septa, that means nuclei was free to move without pore. There was no need of pore or anything, right? But here, since they have septa, we are studying about pore in those septa so that the nuclei can move freely between the protoplasm, okay. And what is septa? Septa is a membrane which is dividing the protoplasm into different compartments. All right, the most important thing is they are named on the basis of, that is the basis of classification is the formation of ascus, that is a sac like reproductive structure, okay. Coming to the example is the world famous, that is penicillium. The asexual reproduction occur by the formation of conidia, okay. And what are conidia? You see they are the exospores. We studied about endospores in the case of zygomycetes, and here we'll be studying about the exospores, okay. And we are naming the exospores as conidia, and conidia they are formed in a chain, okay. You see chain like structure, isn't it? Chain of conidia I have written, and individual spore is known as conidia, okay. Here we don't have endospores because the spores are present outside, they are not enclosed by any kind of sac like structure, okay. The long branch that arise from the hyphae are known as conidiophore. They are not known as sporangiophore here, okay. They are known as conidiophore here. Alright, and another important feature of asexual reproduction with the help of exospore is that these spores are free to disperse. In case of endospores, they were not free to disperse because they were present inside the sac, right? But here they are not present inside the sac. That is the reason why they are free to disperse. Okay, you note the difference is that they are named as conidia, right? They do not have any kind of sac isn't it? And the branch is known as conidiophore, all right, and then they are free to disperse. Okay, now coming to the next, that is sexual reproduction. So reproduce sexually with the help of the fusion of plus and minus strand. Okay, the fusion of plus and minus strand, it form the spore known as ascospore, and they also have a fruiting body that is known as ascocarp. Alright, they have a fruiting body that is known as ascocarp. Fruiting body are the structure which contain the reproductive spores. To basidiomycetes children, okay, all the thing between basidiomycetes and ascomycetes are more or less similar. Only difference between them is the pattern of sexual reproduction. That is only the difference. Okay, that is why we have put them into different classes. Alright, why? Because we are mainly classifying fungi on the basis of sexual reproduction. Basidiomycetes are known as club fungi. Why? Because their sexual reproductive fruiting body is inside a club shaped structure. Okay, and what is club shaped structure? That is so much familiar and known to us. That is nothing but the mushroom we eat. Okay, the mushroom, this is nothing but this is the fruiting body. And what is fruiting body? Fruiting body are those part, okay, which contain millions of reproductive spores. Inside the mushroom also there are so many reproductive spores of basidiomycetes. Their hyphae is also septate and they are extensive mycelium and they are dense. Another thing is this part is same for these also. Okay, they also have a pore in their septa. All right, and they are named on the basis of basidia. That is nothing but those are the inner side of the mushroom. Mushroom is this shape. If we turn mushroom upside down, then we see a numerous gills like structure, right? That is similar to the gills in the fishes, right? And those gills like structure is nothing but those are basidia. Okay, and each basidia contains so many basidium, and each basidium contains so many basidiospores. Example is Agaricus campestris, that is the mushroom. The sexual reproduction here also happens with the help of exospores, that is with the help of the conidiophore and conidia. Okay, sexual reproduction children, see, it takes place inside a fruiting body known as basidia. Okay, this is a fruiting body and inside this there are basidia. Okay, and now you see there is also the meeting of plus and minus strand, same thing. Okay, and there is a formation of zygote as the plus and minus strand they meet. Okay, and you see the difference, the main difference here is the spores in this case, in the case of basidiomycetes are known as basidiospores, and the spores in the case of ascomycetes are known as ascospores. Okay, this is the sexual reproductive spores, those are only different, and this part is known as basidium, and there also the part was named as ascus, isn't it? This ascus and this is basidium, basidiospores and ascospores. These things are only different. That is only sexual reproductive structure and the sexual reproductive spores. Okay, those are only different. And the fifth and last type of fungi is Fungi imperfecti or Deuteromycetes. Okay, and Fungi imperfecti is because in these fungi, okay, sexual reproduction is not yet known. Okay, we have not yet discovered the way in which they reproduce sexually, and we are differentiating fungi, or we are classifying the fungi on the basis of sexual reproduction, right? But if we don't know how is the sexual reproduction happening, whether it is happening or not, right, how can we name them into a particular class? Isn't it? That is not possible for us, right? That is the reason why we have placed them in another class that is known as Fungi imperfecti. That means these class of fungi, they are not yet fully classified. Okay, the day we will be recognizing their sexual reproductive mode. All right, we will be placing them inside basidiomycetes or ascomycetes. Okay, but till now we have not known their sexual reproductive mode. We only know that they reproduce asexually. All right, that is the reason we are placing them in the class known as Fungi imperfecti, because we are not yet familiar with those class of fungi. I hope you got the thing. This was all about classification of fungi. Okay. And from the next video onwards, we will be taking up each class of the fungi and we'll be studying about them in detail. Okay, so thank you so much. Keep watching.